3 times I lived with someone I didn't know when the person in your room becomes the biggest threat. My name is Alex. I'm 25 years old now, and I need to tell you about 3 separate times when I realized that the person I was living with was not who I thought they were. 3 times when sharing a space with someone became the most terrifying experience of my life. 3 times when I learned that the people closest to us, the ones we see every single day, can be harboring intentions that are absolutely unthinkable. Most people talk about stranger danger. They talk about locking your doors and avoiding dark alleys and not trusting people you don't know. But the truth is far more disturbing than that. The people most likely to hurt you are the ones you invite into your home. The ones you think are safe because they're under the same roof. The ones you wake up next to every morning. These are the stories of 3 roommates. 3 people I trusted enough to share my personal space with. 3 people who turned out to be something far worse than I ever imagined. If you think you know your roommate, you're wrong. If you think you would notice if something was seriously wrong, think again. Hit subscribe and turn on notifications because these stories will make you reconsider everyone you live with. These are 3 times I lived with someone I didn't know. Story 1. The raw meat moving into the dorms during freshman year of college was supposed to be exciting. I was looking forward to meeting my roommate. I imagined we'd become best friends. We'd study together, go to parties together, have that perfect college roommate experience. But when I arrived, they told me I didn't have a roommate. For the first half of the school year, I had the dorm to myself. It was actually pretty great. I had my own space. I could do whatever I wanted without worrying about disturbing someone else. Then in January, they told me I was getting a roommate. I wasn't thrilled. I'd gotten used to having the room to myself, but I cleaned up the other half of the room to accommodate whoever was coming. Her name was Cassandra. She told everyone to call her Cassie. When she arrived, the first thing I noticed was that she didn't have much. She said it was because her parents never bought her anything. Whatever she had bought herself. She arrived with maybe 4 boxes total. I felt bad for her. I told her she could borrow some of my stuff if she ever needed to. I just asked that she ask first so I wouldn't think I'd lost something. I quickly realized Cassie wasn't like the average 18-year-old girl. She was different in ways that made me deeply uncomfortable. First, she had horrible hygiene. I had to ask her in the nicest way possible to take a shower because the smell was so bad I would actually gag when I entered the room. She thought it was funny. She never washed her clothes. And the clothes that she borrowed from me never came back clean. I'd get them back with sweat stains and food covering the front. It was like she had never been taught any manners or basic social skills in her entire life. But the worst thing about Cassie was her obsession with eating raw meat. I walked in on her one day eating raw bacon. She tried hiding it when I came in, but there was no way I could unsee that. I asked her why she was eating raw bacon. I wasn't trying to shame her. I was just morbidly curious and completely grossed out. She said it was something she'd always done growing up. Her parents ate raw meat too. It was just a normal thing for her family. I thought it was completely disgusting, but I was trying to be a good roommate and as nice as I could be. So I told her, as long as I didn't have to witness her eating it in front of me, I was cool with her keeping her raw meat in the mini fridge. I should never have said that. The next day, I opened the mini fridge to find it completely full. Pounds and pounds of meat, all different kinds. Bacon, ground beef, different cuts of steak, even some goat meat. When Cassie walked in and saw me staring into the fridge, she was smiling ear to ear, so proud of her meat stash. She bragged about the deals she had found. Before I could stop her, she reached in front of me, grabbed a package of ground beef, opened it up, and started shoving it into her mouth. I almost threw up right then. I was yelling at her to stop. But with meat still in her mouth, she just laughed. I reacted in horror when I felt bits of it land near me, and that only made her laugh harder. The next day I requested a room change. I couldn't take it anymore, but I was told that a room change would only be possible in 2 weeks. I was fine with that, as long as it meant I could escape this nightmare. I told Cassie she wasn't allowed to borrow my stuff anymore since she never returned anything in a usable state. She was upset, but seemed to understand. We didn't talk much the week after I requested the room change. She continued to stash meat in the fridge, but at least she wasn't eating in front of me anymore. A couple of days before I was due to move out, I was sitting at my desk next to Cassie when she walked out of the room. I got a call from one of my friends and leaned back as we talked. I was looking around the room and my eyes settled on her computer. One of the tabs had 3 words that read, "Wanted fresh meat." I laughed and told my friend what I saw. He told me to click on it and see what it was. He was curious, and I never in my wildest dreams would have expected to see what was on there. When I clicked on the tab, my laughing quickly halted. My friend was asking me over and over what it was, but I was too scared to even speak. It was an ad that she had posted on a website I had never even heard of, and the fresh meat that she was looking for wasn't from a cow or a pig or a goat. She had posted a wanted ad for fresh human meat. In the ad, she carefully explained how she liked eating raw meat and had always dreamed about what human meat would taste like. She seemed to be obsessed with it. One line completely caught me off guard and made me want to join the witness protection program immediately. In it, she said, "Eating human flesh has consumed my every thought. Sometimes I watch my roommate sleeping and fantasize about chewing on her." She was talking about me. I took a picture of the ad with my phone and clicked off before she could notice I was on her computer. I grabbed my bag and told my friend to meet me at the police station immediately. I told them everything and showed them the picture of the ad. In conjunction with the university, they spoke to Cassie about this, and surprisingly, she admitted to everything. They took it far enough to actually test all the meat in the fridge since we lived on campus. But thankfully, it was all either beef or pork. I was able to get a restraining order against her, and she was expelled from the university for accessing the dark web while using the school's Wi-Fi, and for attempting to engage in illegal activities. I never saw her again after that, but I think about what would have happened if I hadn't clicked on that tab, if I hadn't looked at her computer that day. Story 2. The Copycat. A little over a year ago, I was dealing with a completely different kind of nightmare. I was 18 years old, and a girl in my class named Kendra was having a really hard time at home. Her parents fought all the time. She always talked about how much she wished she could just disappear. She confided in my mum, who is a teacher at our high school. My mom, being the caring person, she has offered to let Kendra stay with us. Only we didn't have an extra bedroom, which meant Kendra would be staying in my room as my roommate. I was really upset. My mum moved most of my furniture out to make room for another bed. The space that I'd called my own was suddenly cut in half. Kendra moved in pretty quickly. I noticed right away that something was off with her. She would spend hours sitting in front of the mirror just smiling at herself. I would ask her what she was doing. She always responded that she was practicing, but she wouldn't say what she was practicing for. Most nights I'd hear her in the bathroom having full conversations with herself. She was seriously talking to an invisible person, and it really freaked me out. When I told my mom about it, she just said Kendra was awkward and having a tough time. She told me to be nice. Kendra and I never became close. She made it very clear that she didn't like me. She would ignore me constantly. And she would express anger whenever I hung out with my mom without her. Her jealousy turned into something really weird. The day she dyed her hair to match mine, she went to the same hairdresser I go to. She gave the woman a picture of me to use as a reference. She was open about it too. She was proud of it. I complained to my mom about her copying my appearance. But again, she told me to just be nice and put up with it because Kendra was having a difficult life. Weeks went by and the copying got worse. She started repeating everything I said, but in different voices. Almost like she was trying to mimic the way I sounded. She started wearing my clothes too. No matter how much I told my mom, it creeped me out. She always told me to just go along with it for a while. I started feeling uncomfortable in my own home. I hated being in my room with her. The worst nights were when I would wake up to Kendra standing at the foot of my bed. Sometimes she'd just be staring at me. She'd smirk when I expressed fear. After a few months of this, I decided to start sleeping in the living room to try to escape the awkwardness. But the living room proved to be not much better. She would still watch me sleep from the armchair across from the sofa. She'd laugh when I woke up scared of what she might do to me in my sleep. My mom never believed me when I told her what Kendra was doing at night. She told me that Kendra always denied it, and that I was probably making the whole thing up to try to get her kicked out. I was done at that point. I decided I was going to set up a camera to catch her in the act, so I could show my mom proof and Kendra would be gone for good. That night I set my phone on record and positioned it so it would hopefully be out of sight. I never expected to see what I saw the next morning when I checked the footage. Kendra slowly and quietly made her way down the stairs toward the sofa where I was asleep. She stood at the end of the sofa for a whole 30 minutes just watching me. Then she sat down in the armchair and watched me for another hour. Then she made her way into the kitchen. With wide eyes, I watched as she came back into the room holding a large knife. She walked toward me and bent down to whisper something in my ear. Then she laughed and held up the knife above her head like she was going to stab me with it. Then she brought it down quickly, but stopped just short of my face. I screamed when I saw her head turn to look directly into the camera. I wanted to cry when I heard her say, "You actually thought I didn't know what that was there. I know everything that happens in this house. Remember that." She then walked toward the phone and turned the video off. I immediately rushed upstairs to tell my mom. But instead I was struck in the chest with a wooden baseball bat. It was Kendra. I screamed at her and asked her what she was doing while trying to catch my breath. But she looked at me with no emotion on her face at all. She started to drag me into my room. As I was reeling from getting struck, she began to tie me to my desk chair. She told me I didn't deserve the life I had. I shouldn't have been given a loving family when she was given an awful one. The goosebumps went through my body when she said, "You don't appreciate the life you've been given, so I'm taking it." I started shaking uncontrollably, begging her to let me live. She laughed and told me she wasn't going to kill me. She was just going to live as me for a while. I didn't really know how that was possible, but I decided it was best not to antagonize the crazy person right in front of me. She dragged me, still tied to the chair, and put me in the closet. She closed the door. I could still see her through the cracks. I cringed when she put on more of my clothes and styled her hair to match mine even more. Finally, I could hear the sound of the front door opening. My mother was coming home from work. She called out my name, and I started screaming for her to help me. Kendra opened the closet door and told me to be quiet or she'd hurt my mom. So I shut my mouth. I watched as my mom burst into the room and asked her where I was. She had heard me calling for help. I started to feel sick when Kendra said, "But Mommy, it is me." My mom looked at her with pure confusion and asked her what she meant. Kendra kept repeating herself. "It's me. Don't you recognize your daughter?" I saw my mom's face drain of color when she asked Kendra what she'd done to me. That's when Kendra had enough. She shoved my mother to the ground and screamed in her face that she was her daughter and she needed to act like it. My mom got up slowly, and as nicely as she could, she said, "My goodness, I don't know what's gotten into me today. Of course you're my daughter. Let's make some tea. Stay right there." She left the room, and Kendra opened the closet door to tell me her plan was working, that my mom believed her. I, of course, knew that clearly wasn't the case. Kendra had lost her mind. I was 100% positive my mother was downstairs calling the police, but I wasn't going to tell Kendra that. My mom came back upstairs 50 minutes later and told Kendra that tea was downstairs and please join her. Kendra and my mom left the room, and within seconds I heard the police entering and her being arrested. My mom found me in the closet soon after and untied me. She immediately apologized for never believing me. In that moment, I was just happy to be in my mother's arms. Kendra was charged with assault with a deadly weapon, but she was deemed unfit to stand trial. Instead, she was sent to a mental facility where they would assess her condition to decide whether or not she was a danger to herself or others. She was sentenced to spend at least 3 years in that facility before she'd have the chance to get out. I got a letter from her a couple of months into her stay. In it, she told me she was on medication. She had plenty of time to think about what she did. She apologized and expressed how much she hoped I could forgive her. I actually wrote her back telling her I had already forgiven her, and that I hope she continues to get the help she needs. Even though I have forgiven her, I'd be lying if I said there wasn't still a part of me that's scared of what she might do when she does eventually get out. Story 3: The Uncle. The last story I need to tell you is different. It's not about a roommate I chose. It's about family. And sometimes, family is far more dangerous than any stranger could ever be. When I was 9 years old, my aunt and uncle moved into our house. My aunt was someone I really looked up to, but I was always very uncomfortable around my uncle. To put it nicely, he was the epitome of abusive white trash that you might imagine. He was skeleton thin from drugs. He had a shaved head covered in poorly done vulgar and racist tattoos. He had missing and rotting teeth. He was always drunk or high, and he definitely wasn't good around kids. One evening, my mother went out with my aunt. My uncle was there. He wasn't our usual assigned babysitter, but my twin sister Cass and I had been taking care of ourselves and our little brother for years at that point. We were certainly more mature than my uncle could ever be with all of his missing brain cells. Cass and I were hanging out in the living room while my brother slept upstairs in his room. My uncle suddenly came staggering out of his room, which was directly next to the living room. He squinted his eyes like he didn't recognize us. We weren't afraid of our uncle, but we definitely weren't about to listen to him. He tried to kick us out of the living room. I said something that made him angry, probably telling him we didn't have to listen to him, that he had his own TV in his room. He marched back into his room. I thought that was the end of it. But then, He came back holding a pillow from his bed. Before I could even comprehend his intentions, he stomped across the room and pinned me to the couch. He held the pillow over my head. I couldn't breathe. I just remember throwing my hands about, frantically trying to pull his hands off. I had bit my nails as a kid, so I couldn't even dig my nails into him to fight back. I was gasping for air and quickly losing consciousness. That's when I heard my sister screaming. I was about to fully black out when the pillow lightened and I was able to throw it off. I gasped like a fish out of water. My sister had jumped onto his back. He flung her off, panting hard, with such a cold look in his eyes as he staggered back. My uncle stormed out of the house, cursing at us. We immediately locked the glass back door behind him. Cass and I sobbed and held each other, sitting in the middle of the living room. We fell asleep, wrapped in each other's arms. We only woke up when the front door opened a few hours later. My mother and aunt were drunk off their asses, giggling and shushing each other as they staggered in. I knew they'd be no real help now, but Cass explained everything that happened, and my mom was actually overly nice when she was drunk. She hugged us and began crying, telling us how much she loved us, which was a rarity. She and my aunt stayed up with us, still drinking. They turned on a horror movie and gave us each a shot. When my uncle began banging on the glass back door at 4 in the morning, my aunt staggered over and told him to go fuck himself and sleep outside for the night. He didn't come back for 3 days. But when he did, he acted like nothing had ever happened. He avoided us like the plague. Epilogue. Trust no one. I'm 25 now, and I've learned something from these experiences that I wish I didn't have to know. The people closest to you are the most dangerous, not because they're inherently evil, but because you let your guard down around them. You trust them. You invite them into your most private spaces. You sleep in the same room as them, and sometimes they use that trust against you. Cassie had a documented obsession with human flesh. She was fantasizing about killing me, and I slept 10 feet away from her every single night. Kendra was slowly losing her grip on reality. She was watching me sleep with a knife, and my mother kept telling me to be nice to her. My uncle tried to suffocate me, and he lived in the same house. The scariest part about all of these situations is that I didn't see any of it coming. Not because I'm stupid or unaware, but because predators are good at hiding. They're good at seeming normal on the surface. They're good at fitting in. They're good at making you question your own instincts. When Cassie told me she ate raw meat, I should have asked more questions, but I didn't want to shame her. When Kendra started copying me, I should have insisted my mom take me seriously, but I didn't want to seem ungrateful for letting her stay. When my uncle hit me, I should have screamed louder and fought harder, but I was a child and he was an adult. These are the lessons I've learned. Trust your instincts, even if it seems rude, even if it seems ungrateful. If something feels wrong, it probably is. Pay attention to the small details, the hygiene issues, the strange behavior, the copying, the obsessions. These are the warning signs, and most importantly, never invite someone into your most vulnerable space without truly knowing who they are. Because the distance between your bed and theirs is sometimes all that stands between you and oblivion. Stay safe, and be very careful about who you share your home with.